All right. Good evening. How's it going, guys? Ha. What a week. What a day. Leveling up. What does it mean? Gonna do a little different. Gonna stand up tonight instead of sitting down. Just kind of feel like moving around a little bit. Kind of tired. See, the mic is on, so it should be good tonight. Like I said, subject is leveling up. What does it mean? You hear it a lot. A lot of people talk about it. How do you do it? What does it look like? When does it stop? All these kind of questions. We'll get into some of those. See where it goes. So leveling up, basically, the short version is it's a growth mindset. In all reality, it should be a commitment to lifelong learning and lifelong getting better, which means, hate to tell you, leveling up really never stops. Unless you get to a point you're really comfortable way later in life, but you shouldn't stop until then. And even then, you'll still make steps to level up. That's just the way life is. Once you start to get places and do that, you'll understand that. So I know I got a fair amount of young guys in my viewership and in my community and whatnot. And we talk about this fairly often. It comes up. So it's, a good thing with leveling up is knowing that it's a constant step progression forward. And in order to make those steps, kind of goes back to our New Year's thing, you need to set some clear goals, which, okay, everybody knows what goals are. So cool. I've got my goals. My goals are I want to be wealthy and be able to retire and take off and do anything. What does that look like? Well, the freedom to do what I want. I'll probably keep doing stuff like this and working because I'm just that kind of person. Now, saying that is one thing. What's the plan? How do you get there? That's leveling up, is setting your goal, developing your plan, and taking those steps. So I don't have a lot prepared on this tonight. It's been a week with a lot of stuff going on, and I haven't had a ton of time to prepare. So I'm winging most of this. Stick with me. We're going to have some fun. I'll drop the join link here kind of early. If anybody wants to pop in, we can do that. Where's my thingy here? Nope, wrong place. Let's try that. Did it go? It did. All right, so we need some proven strategies to level up and reach life's goals, get places. Like I said, you got to set your goals, but then you got to define your steps. How are you going to get there? I want to be successful. Okay. What does successful mean? Everybody's definition is different. You decide what that is to you. If your definition of success is being really wealthy, it's very rare that happens, or you'll get to that destination working for someone else. Usually means you've got to step outside, take some risk, and work for yourself, build a business. That is the general strategy in life to be really successful. Unless you're a high-level professional like a lawyer or a doctor, and even at that, like high-end lawyer, surgeon, something like that. Unless you're that kind of level where you're demanding multiple six-figure income, it's difficult to become really wealthy without owning your own business. It just is. You have only so many hours in a day. So let's break it down like this. So let's say I'm really good at what I do and I get to charge $250 an hour, which is lawyer type money. Cool. What can I work? 12, 14 hours in a day. So at the end of the day, I'm limited to that. Now, if you have a business and you build it and you systematize it and you bring people in, you teach them your system, you get them to do things the way that you want them done, and you pay these people and compensate them well, and then you bill accordingly for that, well, you might make, say, $50, $75 an hour profit on each employee. Now, if you've got 10 employees, that's $500 to $750 an hour. There's the mindset shift of You only have so many hours in a day. So how do you make more? You make more of yourself. That's how you do it. So there is a big step and a big life hack, so to speak, wealth hack, how you develop it, is to be able to create more of yourself, even though you're taking a smaller piece of each of those pies. It's a much bigger pie. A small piece of a bigger pie, or a bunch of small pieces of a bigger pie, can be better than the whole piece of, or the whole pie of a whole piece of a small pie. You know where I'm going with that. I'm a little tired. I haven't slept very well. May fumble the words. We're going to get through this. Life goes on. So with these hacks, when you develop a business and you build it, there's some things you're going to need to do along the way. You know, if you can also do this if you're working for somebody, if you're in a position where you can work for a commission. If you don't want to go the entrepreneurial route and build something on your own, and you want to work with somebody else or work for somebody else, you're not going to do that in your atypical hourly position. You need to put yourself in a situation where you become indispensable to the business owner. And there is ways to do this as well. I know a couple of people who have done this. You're maybe a salesman or you're a strategist, and you can bring something to the company and grow it a multiple X. And once you understand that you know how to do this and you can do this, maybe the capital investment for you to start this company of this skill you've learned along the way is too big and you can't get there. Then the other way to approach it is knowing your value. And that is the difference. You have to understand the value you bring, but you have to bring value in order to do that. So how you would break this down is, you know, you have the ability that if you implement this plan, you can grow the company you're working at by a 5X, even a 3X. We go, now I'm not small. Well, you triple a company's business, you're worth a fortune. So with that, if you think you have a plan that's going to do that, you go sit down with the owner, the boss, and if you're working at a big union company, it may not work like this, but a place that you can, you sit down with them and say, look, I have an idea and I have a plan to multiple X this business. We're going to take some steps and do that. When I accomplish these goals along the way, you break that out into steps. At this point in time, we're going to review and my salary is going to go up. I want a piece of that. If I'm going to do this, I want a piece of that. If you've got a good enough plan and it's well thought out, the business owner should be very open to it. Having somebody that will step forward and grow my business at multiple X and tells me he wants a third of it, I'd be willing to make that deal. Absolutely. Because 2/3 of 3 times as much is a lot more than 100% of what I got. It's just math. It's numbers. It's how this works. So if you can bring that kind of value, you're making a step and you level up. Now, understand that the end goal and success is hard goddamn work. And it's repeated over and over and over every day. Whenever you see somebody that you think is an overnight success, you haven't seen the hard work they put in. Very, very few people are an overnight success. It is a constant grind and you work at it. If you think you're going to accomplish this at an 8-hour-a-day job, going home at the end of the day, going sitting at the bar and having a beer with your buddies, good luck. Leveling up for you is going to be extremely difficult. Leveling up looks exactly like this. Hard work. You're going to sweat. You're going to be tired. Your social life is going to suffer. But what do you want? Where do you want to get? These are decisions only you can make, but you have to decide, if I want that, the question is, do you want that? Or do you deserve that? Because if you feel you deserve it and you want it, and you're going to get off your ass and do the work and go and do it, then you will get it. But you're not going to get there at 8 hours a day. You're probably looking at about 12. Most successful business owners, most successful salesmen, most successful managements and executives work somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 hours a day, usually at least 5 days a week, and then sometimes several hours on the weekend. Maybe not later on in life, but when they're building, absolutely. So that's what leveling up looks like, is a little bit of self-sacrifice to get where you want to go. Along the way, you're going to need to develop some healthy habits that are going to support your success, because this is hard work. This is going to be hard on your body. It's going to be hard on you mentally. It's going to be hard on you physically. It's going to be hard on you emotionally. And you're going to have to develop a thick skin, a strong backbone to be able to survive this. So think about that. Healthy mind, healthy body, they go together. So take care of yourself. So that means, even though, and I'm currently doing this, by the way, I have taken a shift in careers. I have shut my other business down. I've started a new one, and I'm just getting it going. I've had times in my life where I've had 7 figures roll through my business bank accounts in 1 year. Last year, didn't quite make 6 figures. It's a pretty big shift, but the long game is going to be better. The easy route is going back to where I was, but that's never going to make the multiples that I'm going to make in the direction that I'm going. So that is part of leveling up, is sacrifice. Sometimes you're going to have to make sacrifices that are going to be uncomfortable. You're going to make sacrifices that are going to cost you some time. Generally speaking, comfortability. You get used to being uncomfortable. Get used to it. In fact, embrace it. There's a saying that it took me a long, long time in life to understand, and I'm going to say it at the end of the episode here. So hang on for that one, because it's a very powerful thing, and it'll help you get there. It will help you. It will help you understand the mindset required to move forward and do stuff like this. So develop your healthy habits. Eat right. Go to the gym, something like that. Take care of yourself. Because if you're going to put in this kind of time, it's going to wear you out. You're going to deal with stress on a magnitude level that is very difficult to deal with. You're going to deal with decisions that are difficult to deal with. They're going to be hard to make. And you're going to stress about them. You're going to lose sleep. When you put in this kind of work and time, you're going to play yourself out to the point sometimes you're going to get sick. And you're going to need to take a break. When you need to take that break, take it. But take it focused as a break. And when you're done and you've reset, you come back, you pick up, and you carry on. You can't lollygag it through. I'm going to back off for a while or however long. I backed off for a while. It's taking me a little bit. So getting back into it and taking this next step to level up at my age in life, it's kicking my ass. I'm working 12 plus hours a day, 6 days a week, and I'm probably 7 or 8 hours on the 7th day, unless I decide to go and do something personal. So, and it's kicking my butt. I'm physically drained. I'm mentally drained, but I still work out 6 days a week. It keeps me focused. I do it in the middle of the day. So I take that 12 to 14 hour shift and I work 6-7 hours and I go work out for 45 minutes to an hour. I do cardio in the morning as well. I do the weightlifting in the afternoon, and then I come back and I continue working. That healthy body gives me the healthy mind to keep going. It allows me that break, to take that mental break. Because when you're going to put in this kind of time, your brain's going to fry. So understand that. This is part of your healthy habit, is understanding your own limitations, be it physical, be it mental, emotional, whatever they are. Push yourself up to those, but be careful when you're going to them to not go too far. Just like exercising and working out, when you're doing that stuff, it's okay to get to the point of failure and occasionally failing a little bit. Just don't go too far where you hurt yourself. You know, it's like working out. You work out too hard, you'll hurt yourself. Now you've got to recover. Don't push too far. Get to that point and push. This will build strength. This will build mental character. Will build emotional character. It'll build physical strength. You'll be able to deal with a lot more. You'll be able to deal with the stress better. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. You see some people whose stuff just rolls off their back and you think to yourself, how in the hell do they deal with it? Well, along the way, they didn't. They broke themselves, fixed themselves, put themselves back together, got back up on their feet, and carried forward. It's hard. Success is hard. Leveling up is hard. It's supposed to be. If it wasn't, everybody would do it. It's not that hard to figure out. So if you want it, understand that you have to do the things that others won't do. That is how you take the next step. Do the things others won't do. Kick your own ass. You don't need a boss to kick your ass. You don't need somebody else to kick your ass. Have somebody else who holds you accountable. So, make sure you take your breaks. I'm just kind of scrolling through some tips that I wrote down here with some stuff. A big thing is take ownership. Take ownership of the decisions you make. Because as you start making these difficult decisions more and more as you go along, there's times you're going to make mistakes. That's life. The road to success is paved with failure. You're going to make mistakes along the way. I make mistakes every single damn day of my life. I'm human. I do my best to make them as small as possible, but I make them. And when I do, I own them. Apologize for them. Do what you can to fix it. Do everything you can to fix it and move forward. When you do this, you take ownership of that. It's going to give you a level of confidence to be able to push through almost anything. You'll be amazed what you can push yourself through. You really will. That's a big one is being able to take ownership of your decisions and be confident with that. As your confidence grows, you're going to get noticed more with everything, whether it's people you're just doing business with, maybe it's whoever you're working for, whatever the case may be, everything in life. You'll notice it in yourself. You'll get to a point where you'll literally stand there and look in a mirror and go, holy shit, what did I become? That's a good day. When you're faced with those difficult decisions on a repeated basis all of the time, you're on the right path. If you're not faced with difficult decisions, you're taking the easy way out. Think about that. So you need to be able to deal with the uncomfortability. That's just a part of life. And like I said, develop either the entrepreneurial mindset or even the entrepreneurial mindset if you're working for somebody else and you're willing to grow their company and you want a piece of that. That is an entrepreneurial mindset. I heard a phrase of what it was. And I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. Entrepreneurial or something like that, where you're doing it for somebody else. But understand that in order to take steps and level up, you have to take risks. Anytime you take a risk, you're going to eventually fall down and hurt yourself. So the hell what? Get up, dust yourself off, and do it again. And while you're sitting there thinking, but I don't want to fail and I don't want to fall down, I don't want people to see me do this because, it's going to hurt my ego. Why? Who gives a shit? I'm dead serious with this. Who gives a shit if somebody sees you fall down and you bruise your ego? Because the ones that are going to sit there and point and laugh, those are the ones who aren't doing anything. Those are the ones who aren't leveling up. You're pulling away from them. The people who have worked and who have leveled up, when they see you fall and skin your knees and bruise yourself, are going to watch. They're not going to laugh at you. They might chuckle a little, but they're not going to laugh at you. They're going to watch. And when you get back up and you take that next step, you dust yourself off and you say, tough shit, I'm going to absorb this, learn from it, and move forward. That's when these people will come forward and they'll show you the next step because they've been there and done that. And as you go along in your journey, you're going to see others behind you who are trying to do the same thing. Don't ever forget, nobody builds an empire by themselves. Everybody who has an empire has built it with someone else and built it with other people around them. Which means as these people are helping you level up, it's your responsibility to help those behind you who are trying to level up. Because you can't do it alone. And you never know when that person you help comes forward, passes you, and says, "You helped me get here. Let me help you," and brings you along for the ride. That will happen. And it may not even be the person you helped. It might be somebody else who has watched everything you've done in your path and in your progress. And that's where I found myself this week. I've got somebody who I haven't helped. He's helped other people, but he's seen the help I have given others, and he came forward and helped me. And let me tell you, that is how you make your big steps. Once you get up to success, the steps get smaller, they get harder to take. That's why you need to push through these barriers, and you need to learn this mental strength, the physical strength. You need to learn the stress tests, learn how to deal with them, because they get more difficult to take smaller steps the harder it gets further down the line. This is just a fact. So with that entrepreneurial mindset, something you need to know is that, like I said, nobody builds an empire by themselves. So your networks and your connections and your influence are everything. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who can help you get there. The most successful people in the world, generally speaking, have surrounded themselves with very intelligent people and work with them and learn with them. A great point, if you don't believe me, is look at Warren Buffett, one of the most successful people in the world. Warren Buffett will tell you he would never be where he is in life without Charlie Munger. So Warren might be the guy that everybody knows, but those that are in the know that Charlie is Warren's right-hand man and make sure that he gets there every step of the way. Think about that. The big guy has his guy. So if you want to be the big guy, you got to have a guy. And if you want to get to be the big guy, be the guy to somebody else. It's an easier way to get there. It's a better way to get there, because when you're doing these things and you've learned this and you start leveling up and you start getting to these places, these people are going to help you avoid making mistakes. They're going to help you avoid falling down and skinning your knee. Or when you do, they're going to help you get back up faster. That's the way life works. When you surround yourself with the right people, leveling up becomes easier. At the same time, it becomes more difficult, which is good, because the difficulty means you're making bigger steps and you're getting further ahead. They're just smaller to take. They're harder to take and they're smaller. Once you get to a certain point, the growth is smaller, but it's harder to get to those steps, but it's more rewarding each step you get to. So make sure you take advantage of those opportunities. So that's a big one. Understanding that as you're leveling up in life, you're going to be presented with opportunities. And sometimes you need to sit back and evaluate them. Be careful what you wish for. It's a statement I'm sure we've all heard before in the past. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for. Because sometimes opportunities are going to come either after you wanted them or before you want them and before you feel like you're ready for them. And sometimes an opportunity is going to come along that you wanted in the past, and now you've got to a point you don't want it, but it comes along. It's going to tempt you. That's where you really have to have that mental strength. You've made those tough decisions. You've made your mistakes in the past. You're going to be able to take those mistakes. You're going to take that mental strength. You're going to take that knowledge. And you're going to be able to put the pieces together and decide if that opportunity is right for you or not. Don't make these decisions quickly. This is where your experience and your knowledge come into play. Taking advantage of opportunities is going to get you places. Taking advantage of the wrong opportunities is going to knock you down. So be very careful with those and understand what they are. That's where you need your people and your community and your network to be able to help you make these decisions. Um, and good friends. Part of that is, how do we say this? I don't trust anybody that agrees with 100% of everything I say, because nobody agrees with 100% of anything anybody says. Somebody who agrees with absolutely everything that I say is not honest, and I can't trust that person. I've surrounded myself with some people who will absolutely tell me things I don't want to hear, and I don't like hearing them, but I need to hear them. They point out my blind spots. They help me avoid mistakes. And sometimes they're difficult things to hear. Thank God for them. Because without them, I'd end up making a lot more mistakes than I already do. One thing about opportunities and taking advantage of these is, like I said, helping others along the way. When you get to a point in life, you're going to have an opportunity to engage in some kind of mentoring, helping somebody else. I'm at that point in life where I'm both sides of this. I have young guys that I'm mentoring, and there is no greater reward in the world. It took me a long time to learn that. There's no greater reward in the world than mentoring some young guys and helping them level up. And as I've done this, I've got other people who are helping me level up and take some pretty big steps lately. And it's hard to imagine. I would have never thought it when I was younger. It's hard to imagine that at 50 years old, I've got guys who are helping me still make difficult decisions and take next steps and move up. And some of these steps are going to be pretty big. And we're on a good path because I'm faced with a lot of difficult decisions, which means I'm on the right path. So the stress is there. The sleep has gone away, which when you get older really sucks because you don't sleep as well and it's harder to get it. So when you lose it, it's even worse. Hence the take care of yourself. You need to take care of yourself because life is going to kick you in the ass when you're trying to level up. And it should. If life isn't kicking you in the ass, you aren't trying hard enough. When you go to the gym and you're working out, if you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. It's a fact. If you're not pushing to the point that you are hurting, you're not trying hard enough. You're just there doing something, putting in reps. You're on easy street. Probably not going to get where you want to go on easy street. Usually don't. So the people who are on easy street, financially in life and successfully in life, they've leveled up. They've paid the price. They worked their ass off to get there. Unless they happen to get lucky and win a lottery. Let's think about that for a minute. I've said this before. I don't remember what it is. I never thought to look it up. But it's like, I think it's like 80% or somewhere in the neighborhood, 70%. You know what they say, 60% of all statistics are fake and bullshit. I don't remember what it is, but I saw it somewhere and it is a large percentage of lottery winners are bankrupt within 7 years. So you don't really want to be an overnight success because an overnight success is usually an overnight failure. That's the advantage, going back to the falling down, skinning your knee, hurting your fragile little ego, getting up, dusting yourself off, and taking the next step. That lesson is going to save you from making that same mistake when you're way up here and the fall down is a lot further and hurts a hell of a lot more. These lessons in life add up. It's called knowledge. It's called wisdom. These are the things that are going to take you places. That is the ultimate level up. How do you know when you get there? You know you've got there. You know you've leveled up when people come to you for advice. And you're going to ask yourself, this guy's awful successful. Why in the hell is he asking me? Congratulations. When that happens, you've got there. Well done. Now get off your ass and take the next step and level the hell up because it doesn't stop. So it's a constant grind to increase your knowledge and increase your value. That's just the way it is. And with that, just sort of reading through some of the brief points I pulled up, but I didn't do a lot on this. Didn't lay out my thing like I normally do. So a big thing with when you increase your skills and you get these points, you're leveling up, you're going to become better and faster and more efficient at laying out your action plans and taking your steps and moving forward. Along the way, there's things you're going to need to know. There's things you're going to need to learn to understand, because at high levels of success, you need to be able to understand the dynamics of what's going on around you that's happening on a subtle level. There's going to be cues that are taken out of context, and there's going to be hints that are dropped that are not verbal. So a big part of leveling up and success in life is being able to understand people, understand situations. Situational awareness is a huge, huge asset. This is a skill you need to develop. Develop it early. Being able to understand the way people work and react. Everybody has their own personality profile that they fall into. If you're going to get places and you want to get places, you're going to need to learn some psychology along the way. And it's kind of a pain in the ass. But in order to deal with people, especially at a high level, you're going to have to know how to understand them. You're going to have to know the way the person you're speaking to thinks, the way the person you're doing business with and interacting with. You need to know the way they're going to react. Because these difficult decisions sometimes get difficult and ugly, and people will react in a bad way. There's more than one way to deliver this. So knowing how the person is going to react because of the personality profile and the psychology that you have learned along the way to be able to decipher this stuff will allow you to deliver this in a way that will make it better. Because as you level up and the decisions become difficult, so too become the difficult conversations. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's a good thing. Helps you with everything else. Helps you be able to make those decisions. Take these steps. And sometimes you need to understand that your expected outcome is not what you expect. Sometimes the surprise is good, and sometimes it sucks. And that psychological know-how is going to help you understand the suck. It's going to help you deal with it in a better way, in a more positive way. Because as you become more successful, you need to be more professional. I don't care what it is you're doing. Even my last career, which was pretty damn simple, run of the mill, there was an extreme level of professionalism there. That's what took me to the places that I got to, was the ability to think at a level outside of and beyond what most people in my industry did. And that gave me an unexpected outcome. Positive for the most part. There was some negative with it because I had to deal with some people that it didn't go well. And that's life. It's going to happen. So anyhow, with that, I see we've got somebody on the line here. What we got? I'll bring you in there. We got Chris on the line. How's it going, Chris?
Hey, my friend.
Good. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How's your day?
Today has been pretty good. It's busy, stressful, but that's good. And yours?
Look at me, dude. That's just fun.
Can I interrupt you for a moment? Hey guys, you want to know what leveling up is and what success is? I told you before, it's hard goddamn work. You're going to get dirty. You're going to get sweaty. And it looks like this guy on the screen with me right now. I actually thought about doing this a different way. I normally, before my show, I have a shower, clean up, and blah, blah, blah. After I worked out today and was getting ready to do my prep, I was going to come do prep, and I wasn't going to shower. I wasn't going to clean up. I am tired as hell. I slept like 4 hours last night and 2 hours the night before. I'm tired. I'm burnt out. So I was going to
I hear you.
Put that forward and show you what success looks like. I decided to have a shower and clean up because I just couldn't stand the smell of myself. Chris is what leveling up and success looks like. most people look at overnight success and they think, oh, look at that guy, nice shirt, nice clean, blah, blah, blah. Well, in order to get here, you've got to do that every damn day. And that's why this man is successful.
He's dressed in overalls and looks like work.
Smells like sweat.
Oh, dude, I was out forging tonight. I stink.
There you go.
Yeah. Back in the office now and then home for dinner. In bed and up and do it all over again. Great show, dude. Great show.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Everybody.
So, well, tell me about it. I know you have leveled up a hell of a lot in life. We spoke before several times.
So, yeah. Started the biz with $238 roughly in my pocket 10 years ago, and heart attack. I mean, it's been to the point of health just right to the shitter and just absolutely give her.
There you go.
Got really good guys now, and things are starting to work out, and life kind of went personally a few years ago, and as of this past quarter or this past year end, we finally are out of that bullshit.
Excellent.
And things are looking up, and just the wife works for me now full time, and it's good, man. It's but it takes work, it takes effort, it takes not being afraid to look like this if you need to,
Yep.
And a lot of people are afraid to do so. And
describe what it's like sometimes when you have to, like, in order to be successful, we've talked before, in order to be successful, you've got to take risks. And no matter where you are, even at the point you're at in life, taking that next step, it's scary as shit.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's it's not for the faint of heart. There's going to be times that you need to put your house on the line to make things happen. Potentially. Mm-hmm. Welcome to it. That eventually clears up, and things, but it's a constant roller coaster, and it's a constant roller coaster of emotions. Personally speaking, I mean, I've been trying to find a little bit more balance. A lot of times I'm in the office here at the shop or at home at the home office and just doing paperwork, but sometimes I actually like getting dirty again. But been trying to find a little bit more balance and taking up some hobbies.
Yep.
You need some fun in life. You can't just work all the time 24/7.
Absolutely.
But then, I mean, like for instance, Tuesdays and Thursdays, and well, now it's just Tuesdays, for an hour and 3/4 in the morning, I fly little RC planes inside. I got my dad back in it, and we spend time together. But as a result, I'm working like 3-4 hours. I'm working like till 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
But it's worth it to me. I mean, you have to have fun in life. It can't just be grind. But even when you're having fun in the hobbies, I mean, grind in the hobby too. And like, if you're going to do something, do it. Don't just
absolutely
talk about it,
So tell me about, like we talk about the having to take the chances and the risk, and, the more experience and the more, the better you get at it. Doesn't mean the risks go away, do they? I mean, like in all reality, and we've talked before, the more successful you get, the harder the risks or the bigger the risks become. And quite frankly, everybody thinks life gets easier. Actually, it gets more difficult. Taking risks. I mean, I'm gonna put the guy on the spot because as anybody knows who's watching, Chris and I know each other. When you take a chance when you're young and you do something and you stumble and you fall, oh boy, that sucks. You got to get back up. Chris, let me ask you this: when you take a risk right now, how many families rely on you?
More than I care to admit, including my own.
You have employees.
Oh yeah. I've got. Let's see. there's probably around 11, 12 families. If you 14 roughly, if you include a couple subs.
So there you go. So think about that. Everybody, oh, when I get successful, the risks are going to be easier. Well, in Chris's case, he's carrying 14 families. If he makes a mistake and stumbles on and has to pick himself up, it's not just him he's got to pick up. He's got 14 families that are relying on him. So being able to make those mistakes it's a good thing. It's a good problem to have. I've got a friend who's very successful. He has many hundreds of families rely on him. And I used to think this is where this comes from. Is I actually had a conversation with him the other day, unexpectedly. I don't talk to him very often. He's very successful. He's very busy. I rarely hear from him, and I don't like to bother him. And we were chatting, and I asked him, I said, so what are you at now? And he's just shy of 1,000 families, just shy of 1,000 people working for him.
Oh, thank
and
you.
I'm like, wow, congratulations. Good for you. He says, the stress is through the roof. He says, exactly. If I make a mistake, 1,000 people could lose their homes. 1,000 families could lose their homes. Like the more successful you get, the bigger the mistakes are. This is why you don't want to make those you want to make those when you're small and you're learning. So you have this experience to grow on and learn on, because everybody thinks the stress gets easier. The stress gets bigger. Congratulations. When you've got big stress, you're doing something right.
I was telling one of our friends in one of our private Zoom calls, if you're going to kind of delve down this rabbit hole of business for yourself, keep it small. Don't, I know there was a time I thought, I've got a 1 million square foot shop and the best of the best. And you know what? Yeah, I've got a decent shop, but it's manageable. And I'm happy with it. I don't want to be the biggest, the best, the big, quote unquote swinging dick. I just want to be able to give a good life to my family and to others. And treat them right. That's me.
Everybody's definition will be different, right?
That's exactly it. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, some people think, you have to, reach a certain status. Like, to me, like today, for instance, I look like this, and I got a call from one of the guys in our 1% group, and I put a connection together with a guy that I know, an engineer, and he's into the nuclear industry for spent rods, and just we'll talk later about the numbers, but I damn near shit. And I mean, it can be a really big deal for somebody right now. And I mean, like, excellent. If I wouldn't have joined groups and kind of leveled up, kind of come out of my comfort zone, because I would never call a show like this a year ago, ever. I'd be that guy just sitting in the back. And I mean, now I got a call about a nuclear contract today from one of the guys. And I mean, he calls me every other day, kind of thing, just to shoot the shit for a minute or two. And even you and I do. I mean, like, just getting to good people and surround yourself with good people. That's the key, I find, is just like, even my wife there, Amber, like, she's an amazing person. Like, don't the red pill space, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but the red pill space tends to how do I say this nicely? Treat women as second-class citizens, and there's a lot of good value in them, and in relationships with female and males.
We can't carry on without them, can we? We can't.
No,
at the end of the day, we can't. I don't know about you, but I haven't figured out how to reproduce myself. So if you don't, you can't.
If I get sleeping right now,
we're not going to go down that path. That's not necessarily my direction. I'm more the positivity, the mental health, the leveling up, that sort of stuff. There's no secrets that both Chris and I are red pill guys. We see life through that lens, that we understand things, but that is also part of leveling up. When you understand how things work in the world, with everything, interdynamic relationships, the psychology is what it is. It boils down to psychology at the end of the day. It's like this comment I've got to the disc profiling. Like, when you start to deal with people and deal with bigger problems, you have to understand how they think, because you can't make things happen if you can't communicate. And part of being able to communicate with people is understanding how they communicate. And everybody communicates in a different way. So if you want to be able to effectively communicate with a large number of people, which is what success is, you've got to be able to understand how to communicate on different levels in different ways with those different people who don't communicate the same way you do.
Absolutely. And that's
Right?
honestly, dude, that is one thing I'm learning the hard way sometimes is I wear my heart on my sleeve, and that includes business. And I've had to learn and to be fully transparent. Even Amber's helped me with breaking that bad habit of when
Yep.
clients are calling you and saying, well, we're going to hold this money back. And you're going,
There's a big one with leveling up, isn't it? Emotional mastery, being a master of your
oh,
emotions.
I used to be the guy, okay, I'm coming down with your family in it.
Yeah.
Now it's just business. It's just business, you know.
Yes.
That's been my past year has been my big takeaway, personally speaking.
Well,
is the emotional. And I'm still dealing with it. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. Oh yeah, we all do. So
Oh yeah.
let's chat about that for a bit. You know, at the end of the day, business is business, and you largely leave emotion out of it because it's business. But this is part of leveling up, is becoming comfortable with yourself, becoming confident. And in order to be confident with yourself, you've got to be very honest and very true. Because if you aren't, people aren't going to do business with you. Because as two guys who are in business, let's have a conversation about that. It's simple. You do business with somebody, but in order to form that business relationship, you're dealing with a person. So if you can't be a good person and you haven't learned how to do this communication with people, you're not going to do business. Doesn't matter how good you are, right?
Absolutely. And I'll be the first to say I've probably destroyed some very good relationships with business potential clients and previous clients just because of my not being able to connect the dots, if you will, of separating the emotion from the business in the past, because it's like it's my life, my family's life that are on the
Yes.
line, and it's been a challenge. I won't lie. It's been a big challenge, to be honest, is the emotional disconnect and just remembering that business is just business when you're getting screwed financially by some, pardon my French, but rich prick construction industry, and you're sitting trying to just do an honest day's work, and he's telling you, well, sorry, you're waiting 120 days for payment. Oh, and by the way, your 10% holdback, which is normally at substantial completion, you now have to wait a year from
Yeah.
substantial completion. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's part of it, which I didn't touch on. So thanks for bringing that up. You know, the emotional mastery. And this is a thing that I think a lot of guys get wrong, is emotional mastery doesn't mean you don't have emotions. Nobody is devoid of emotions. We all have them. Emotional mastery is being able to absorb those emotions, let them wash over you. If you have to take a minute, take a day, whatever the case may be, let that emotional part pass, then think logically and approach it that way. Because business decisions and big decisions in life should be made logically. Because if you make them based on emotion, you're probably going to make a mistake. Most of the time when we make these big decisions on emotion, we make mistakes. They're usually the wrong one. So that's a great point to bring up. Thank you for that, by the way. Is, you know, you've got to, when you were making these big decisions, you've got to make sure that you have the mental capacity and the backbone and the strength, the mental strength to think through it in a logical way and push that emotional part away. Because
Absolutely.
case in point, my friend was talking to me the other day, just about, you know, there's about 1,000 employees. The mental part of that is it can put him in a place where it becomes impossible to make a decision because he knows the weight of, like, he got his year-end numbers and what his staffing of those was. And it was a shock to him. He never expected to get where he is. And
No good for him.
if he was to allow emotion to take over, making decisions would become difficult. Well, failing to make a decision, generally speaking, will lead to failure.
Yep, exactly.
And
exactly.
that itself is a level. that takes some time and experience to get to. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
The one thing too
buddy.
you mentioned is that you're not an island, and that was my thing too this year and recently, like probably within the past 30 days, that I've kind of really started remembering, um, in the office anyway, is that I'm not an island. I've got Amber with me, and even my mom comes in and helps out, and then Donna. And without those three ladies in the office, plus Emad, my engineer, and the great guys out on the floor and in the field, I can't do it all. I mean, my shoulders are both completely screwed, to the point where I can't lift steel over my head much anymore. And without the guys and the ladies in the office, I'd be fucked. I wouldn't be who I am, where I am, or where I'm going. So
Leveling up is hard damn work.
Don't ever forget that it's not just like, it wasn't me that just did it. There's a train of people behind me that help, and that's key. I've been remembering. With the office, you take some people for granted. I mean, the guys on the floor, you treat them like family, but my actual family, sometimes they're the ones that take the brunt of things for me, and I have to remember that I need to tone that down.
Yep.
And show appreciation.
That's a growth and level up right there.
Yep.
See, guys, never stops. Never stops. Successful business owner, multiple employees, is still leveling up. That's the way it is every day. Got to take the next step. Let's hope it's not anytime soon. Live long and prosper. Excellent. Right on, buddy. You have yourself a good night.
Great.
We'll chat with you later. Appreciate you calling in.
See you.
There you go. So with that, I'm pretty much out of my points, and I don't see anybody else on the call list here. So we'll carry on with that. Like I said in the beginning, there was a phrase I was going to leave you with. It took me a long time to truly understand the meaning of this one. And thinking about this today, and actually over the last little while, has really led me to, last year's really led me to understand this well, is may your life be blessed with many difficult decisions. I know that sounds harsh, but think about that. If your life is blessed with many difficult decisions, it means you're on the right path. It means you're leveling up. It means you're pushing to success. Because not taking the next step and not getting anywhere is easy. There's no difficult decisions in it. So when you're facing a difficult decision, don't forget to take a moment and actually enjoy it. Actually count your blessings. Because these difficult decisions means you've made a lot of right ones. Which means, congratulations, you have leveled up. Now go take the next step. And find some more difficult decisions. And keep your life full of them. Because that is the key to leveling up. Make the difficult decisions and keep them coming in. With that, have a great night. I am. And more difficult decisions.